Alright guys, this is the moment. It's flow time. Okay, on this trail we are going to guide users through your business process with Flow Builder. So I am going to go dive in and start building, and then we are going through the trail and explain what we just did. Let's go ahead. Go to the hands-on orgs, and I'm going to launch my admin intermediate playground. Close that out. And we are going to go to flows. What would that be? What do you think? It should be under gear setup here and setup. And on the left here, quick find, you find flows. Process automation and flows here, okay? Alright, whoa, clean slate. On a real org, when you're getting the hang of building flows, you will see lots of flows here. Okay, so what do we want to do? So we have a swim kids program, right? From Red Cross Canada. That is our example story. So we want receptionists to be able to create new students and book new swimming lessons easily, right? Right now, what happens? So if I open this up on a new tab, or I can just use this. So for example, they go to the home page, right? So this is what the receptionist will see, and then somebody calls. They want to book an account. What would they need to do? Well, they need to create a few things. First, they need to create the account, and then they need to create the contact, and then there is to contact the parent and then the student, right? And then they have to create the bookings, which is the actual opportunity. Well, there's a lot of hoops and a lot of time is going to be wasted just to book a new person who wants to book a swimming lesson. And we want to save time, like 15 minutes of time for each and everyone calling to book a new swimming lessons. So we want to have one screen over here where the receptionist can pick up the call and ask the important information like the name, the address, and then what else? The phone number and the student name, the mom's name, and then the lesson, like when the lesson starts, when the lesson ends, and then book the whole lesson. And all from one screen. Okay, let's go ahead and do just that. This is going to take a while, so be patient and watch and then learn slowly. If you get confused, always repeat this video and then watch it again. That will give more insight as you watch it the second time, even the third time. Or pause and then rewind a bit and then play again, okay? Alright, so let's go diving into flows. This is the flow list here. No items to display because we haven't created any, right? Now I'm going to make a new flow over here, new. So it is going to be a screen flow. What is a screen flow? A screen flow is basically where it takes inputs from the user. So like the guide here, we have also an example of a screen flow. So it looks something like this, like close credit account, and you see a screen and you provide questions and informations, right? And then there is a screen to work on. That is a screen flow. If I go back here, so what is an auto launch flow? An auto launch flow, it's triggered by a process in the background, like a record being updated, and the whole thing triggered. So you don't even see the screen. You don't need additional user input. It just runs in the background, okay? And you can Also get flow templates from the app exchange here. People make complicated, complex flows, and you can just use it. Let's see. If I pop this up on a new window, it goes. And here you have flow solution. So this is all flows, right? There is questionnaire, profile wizard, all kinds of cool stuff. So I encourage you to, if you want to learn about complicated flows and how everything is put together, you can install one of these flows and see how they works. After you open it, you can view one, but this is outside of the discussion of this particular trail, so we won't be doing that. We will focus on making our own flow, and a simple one, but not super simple. Okay, screen flow here, right? I'm going to create a screen flow. So this is our whole screen flow screen, right? On the left, you have this toolbox. We have elements. We have screen, where we are going to ask for information, and then action, what we want to do, and subflow, we can launch another flow from this flow. Okay, so we have assignments where you assigned variable values. You have decision, like an if this, then that, right? You have a loop to loop over collection variables. So if you're confused about that, don't. We will go through with that either on this trail or on the next trails. And then there's data manipulation here. Data manipulation. We have create records to create new records, update existing records, get records from Salesforce, and then delete records. Okay, and then there is more on App Exchange again. So you can add more stuff, more actions and components to your flow from here as well. That is outside of this discussion. And flow is pretty much a tool, right? And you can do unlimited possibilities with these tools. So keep that in mind. Manager, here you can create new resources. Resources can be all kinds of things: variable, constant, formula, text template, choices, record choice set, pick list choice set, stage. And it's going to be too long if we discuss every single item there is in this flow. So let's start building one. All right, let's do let's learn by example. So what do we want to do? We want the receptionist to be able to book a new swimming lesson, right? Okay, so that would require a screen. Okay, put a screen here. Boom. Now here you can have all kinds of fields. This is not fields from Salesforce. Okay, this is like an input field. So you decide what questions you want to ask, and then you put it here. Okay, so let's label this swimming lessons booking. All right, swimming lessons booking. Okay, so first off, we want to ask the parent's name. Okay, you can search the components from the left here like usual. So I'm going to search for name. So I'm going to drag this component to the screen. This is the screen, right? Edit screen. And now we have a name component. I'm going to name this input parent name. Okay, so that's the API name. We can refer to this name on all over our flow later on. Okay, so we ask the parent name. So we are not going to discuss about all these things later. We are going to discuss this later, so not right now. So let's go ahead. So I don't want to confuse you this early. All right, so now I am going to add another one, the same input field, name component, drag another one here. I want this to be the student name, right? Input student name. Okay, so we have the parent name, we have the student name. What else do we want to ask? Probably the address, or where do you live, right? The address, and put it there. Input home address. Okay, so you can like put a value here, like a default value, or not. I'm just going to leave it blank. Okay, home address, and you can put all this default value if you want that. So I'm just going to leave it as it is right now. And did we put the home address as the label? Yes, we do. What else do we want to ask? The phone number. Oh, what is your phone number? Okay, so phone number here. I was thinking I want to ask the birth date of the student as well. Okay, that's okay. I'm just gonna put phone, so we know the age, so we know what swim kits level they might be appropriate for, and things like that. So phone, it's going to be labeled just phone, right? So let's add birth date. So I'm going to ask the birth date, which is a date field here. So after the student name, I'm just going to put right in the middle here. So after the student name, I'm going to ask student birth date. Student birth date, right? Oops. Birth date. And yep, you can validate the input. Maybe if you don't want it in the past, right? You can also do that. You can make it visible or not visible, but let's talk about all those stuff later. Let's not be confusing for now. So we ask for the mom or dad name, the student name, student birth date, where do they live, their phone number, and probably we want to ask when they are going to start their lesson. Okay, so I'm gonna hit date here. Lesson start date. Okay, and it's required. Okay, and I'm gonna put another date, which is lesson end date there. I'm going to put this lesson end date and require that as well. As you hit required, you see that star here, right? So we want to ask, what else do we want to ask? We have the mom's name, student name, the birth date, the address, the phone number, the lesson date, and that's pretty much it. Probably we want to ask, I want to see, yeah, the level of swim kits. Okay, I'm gonna put this here. What level do you want to enroll in? Swim kits level. So keep the data type as text, and then choices here, we must define a resource. So I'm going to pick a new resource, and we are going to pick the pick list from the opportunity object which we have defined. So resource type, if I click here, it's going to be a pick list choice set, and we are going to name the swim or input, right? Swim kits level pick list. And then this is the input. We want search opportunity, and the data type is a pick list. So from which field? The swim kits level, because that's where we want the choice to come from. Okay, so I'm gonna hit done here. So we have that. So we have lesson start date, lesson end date, and the level. Let's stop at that. Okay, that's pretty much what we need, and I'm going to hit done over here. So now we have a screen. So this is the start, and then there's the screen. You need to actually tell from the screen flow by dragging, start and then go to this element. So you connect it. Pretty fun, right? So you connect that like that, and then I'm going to save this before we forget and name this new swim kids lesson flow. Okay, create a new swim kids lesson from the home page and save. So now that save, we have a warning because it's a screen component and we have to activate the lightning runtime. So that is mentioned on the trail here. So here, make your flows look like lightning. So you have to activate that first. So to do that, from setup, go to automation and then process automation settings. Okay, let's pop up a new one. From here, I'm going to go automation, process automation settings. Here. On here, we need to enable the lightning runtime. Enable lightning runtime for flows. So you have to do that as well. Oops. We are on here. So where is that? Enable lightning runtime for flows. It is enabled already. Okay. So, okay, it looks good, right? So we are on track. So that's okay. If you see this warning, you have one warning. Swimming lesson booking screen. This screen includes screen. Yeah, we already activate that, but that's fine. It's just a warning. Maybe they don't know if we are on classic or lightning. Okay, so if you want to see how it looks like, you can run it here. It's gonna pop up on a new tab and you will see how it looks like. So new swim kids lesson flow. We have the name. So if it's a smaller screen, you can even make it smaller like that. So it's gonna look something like that. So first name, last name of the student. We should change this label too, right? That's confusing. And the student birth date and the address and then the phone number and the lesson and the level. See, it's picking up from the opportunity pick list that we set up on the previous trails. So that looks okay, and that's my recording there that you see. So behind the curtain. So now I'm gonna close this out and let's modify that name that looks confusing. Okay, so to change that, I'm going to double click there, and here I'm just going to rename the parent label to be parent and the student label to be student. So I've done that already. So now when I run this again, you will see it's changing. It has parent, first name, last name, student, first name, last name. Okay, and all this address here. So that's our first step. We have the screen created. So what is the next step? We want to be able to create records, right, from what has been inputted. So we want to create the account and then the parent contact and then the student contact with this address, and then we want to create the lesson, right, the lesson. And that's what we want to do with this flow. So I'm just going to close this out. So let's create the records. So to do that, we want to create records, right? First off, we want to create the account. So from the account, we want to create the contacts, okay? From the contacts, we want to create the swimming lesson. But before we can create records, we forgot something. We have to actually map. I'm going to pop this out again. we have to actually map this field to the output value. I skipped that part. So we have this name field, right? So what if somebody is entering it? We want to save that into an output value, store output values to select variables. Okay, so I want to store the first name of the parent, right? Here to a variable. I'm going to make a new resource here, and it's a text, so it's a variable, and it's let's name it parent first, or just first name. The data type would be a text. Enable both input and output, and done. So this parent first name will go to a parent first name variable. I also want the last name of it, which is a new resource again. Resource type is another variable, parent last name, and data type is a text, and we are going to allow both for input and output, and done. Okay, so we ask for it. Now we are going to store it in a variable which we just created. So that's that. Let's do the same thing with the student. So we ask for it, and then we store it here, first name, because we just ask for first name and last name, right? Here we define, we just want to ask for first name and last name fields to display, just that too. So we want to now store the first name to a new resource. It's a variable student first name, and the data type would be a text, allow input and output. Same thing with last name here. Last name, a new resource. Now same thing again, variable student last name. Okay, and data type is text, allow input and output, done. So now we have stored there. Now when we want to create an account, we can refer to that name. Same thing with the address here. Boom. Now we have the address. We ask for the address, and then we want to store each value here, right, to its own variable. We have to do that because we want to map that later. So I'm just gonna keep doing this. Let's do it together. I won't cut this video so you can see it together. Okay, variable, let's name it city, and it's a text. Boom. Okay, and done. Now the city value will go to the city variable. City value will go to city variable. Country, same thing. Let's do that. New resource, variable country, and text, same thing there, done. Country, store output there, and then the label, no, postal code, yeah, we wanna make a new resource, post variable, postal code is a text, input output, done. Province, state province, sure, new resource, resource type, variable, state province is state or province, and it's a text, input output, done. Okay, so options, value, actually I want to put this onto the value, not the options. Street value, well, this is important. The street itself, the street of the street address, variable street Okay, data type is a text, available input output. So now it's mapped. Street value goes to street, store it in a street. This is the bucket, the variable. State province value goes here, postal code goes here, postal code, country goes here, city goes there. That's for the address. And that's that. Phone, I think it stores the value here. Oh yeah, we want to store that too. New resource, same thing, variable, phone. Let's call it phone value. Data type is text and available both input and output there. This is already, yeah, this is already good. So okay, now let's hit done and save. Keep saving. Now okay, we can ignore that part. We can create a record. Okay, first off, I want to create the account record. So this create records, I'm going to drag over to here, and I'm going to say create account. How many records to create? Just one. How to set record fields? I want to use separate variables, resource, and literal values because I want to map it, right? I want to map it, so I'm going to choose that. So what object are you going to create? I'm going to create an account. First, we want to create the account. So now we do the mapping, okay? Let's do the name first. The account name. The value, put this on this record field, right? The value, I want to use parent first name, right? And then I want to use both first and last name. Parent's last name. Like that, okay? So now I'm going to add another field. So the account name will be parent first name, parent last name, and then I want to put the phone, maybe the phone number first. Let's do the phone, account phone. I want to put the phone here. I can even search for phone. Phone value here, right? P and then phone value. And then I'm going to add the address now. Start from the city. Billing, or the street first, billing street here. Okay. And then I'm going to type street there. Add. After street, what do you have? City. Billing city. City. So why do we use billing instead of shipping? Because we don't ship stuff, right? This is just for swimming lessons. We just need the address for charging the parent to pay. So either send an invoice or just for the credit card billing address. So street, city, state, billing state, state province, and then add another field. And what else do we want? We want postal code, postal code there, postal code there. And then we want country. Well, it's obvious. Usually the country is the country. The whole country for the swimming kids is Canada, but let's just put it here. So we have the name of the account, we have the phone of the account, the whole address. So street, city, state, code, country. Oh, that's it, right? Now, when the account is created, store account ID in a variable. Yes, sir. We do want that because we want to create the contact later. All right. So the contact will need to have an account. So we want to store the account ID to a no resource here. I'm just going to make it a variable and then name it account ID or even new new account ID, newly created account ID. All right. So the data type would just be a text and available for both and done. So we can now finish this particular create record element and hit done. Boom. So that's how you complete the create records just for the account. Create account, right? So now I'm going to link this. Boom. So first you create the screen for the inputting. Then you decide what to do with the data. I want to create an account and I want to create two contacts. One parent, one student contact, and then I want to create the lesson on this part. Okay, I'm going to save this guy. Okay, ignore that. Okay, so now we want to create the contacts. One, the parent contact, and second, the student contact. Let's go ahead and do that. Create records. We're getting the hang of it. So now we are going to say this is create parent contact. Boom. One record. Use separate variables. And the contact object. Okay. So we want to have the name of the contact. The first name goes from the first name here. Parent first name. Add field. The last name would be last name, right? And then let's add the phone as well. Phone, business phone is the phone value. And then we have to add the record type. See, record type ID. So what is the record type ID of the parent? Let's see. Okay, so if I go back here, I'm going to go to my object manager and I'm going to go to my contact object over here, contact, and I want to see the record types. We have parent, we have student, instructor, and manager, right? So how do you get this ID here? You click on this guy. You don't see it anywhere here, but it's on the top here. Record type, see? Record types, and then this is the ID you want. So I'm going to copy that, okay? And I'm going to go back to my flow builder here. Record type ID, I'm going to put it there. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so first name of the parent, last name, the phone of the parent, and the record ID. What about the address? Well, I don't want to repeat the whole thing because both contacts are linked to the account and the account have an address. So we don't bother with that, okay? I'm going to add a field here, which is the account. Account ID is from the previous one where we stored it, right? Account ID. You remember? When we create the account, we store the account ID onto the account ID or the new account ID variable. So that's that. So, sure, we want to create a new resource here. We are going to name a parent contact ID, just in case we need it later on. So I'm going to make it text and allow, and done. Okay, so we create this parent contact record and we store the ID here. Just like when we create the account record, we store the created account on this variable. So now we can link this to the field account ID. So when the contact is created, it is going to be linked to the account, which is this account, right? So we have the first name, last name, phone, and then record type is what? Parent. So field is this, and you're done. That's it. So I'm going to hit done, and then we are going to link it again here like this. Boop, and maybe at the bottom here. So we make a turn here. Boom. And make this straight a bit like so. Okay, almost. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, no, that's... Come on, dude. Come on, dudes. Okay, let's forget about it. Okay, now I'm going to create the student contact. I'm going to clone this because this is the same object. I'm just going to duplicate this. This is a new feature from Winter 20 release. So boom, look at that. Now I'm just going to double click on this and change this, create student contact, and delete that, type over, there we go, right? Now first name, we want to change this to student. First name, student, last name, and we want to add the birth date to the birth date entered here, birth, and we want to change the record ID here, the record type. If I go back here and record types, I want to make this one a student record type. So you go to the student record type, and from the top here, you copy this guy. There, you copy that, that's the ID, okay? And put it there. Whoa, awesome, right? And I want to store this to a new variable, not the parent. Let's name it a new variable, student record ID, student contact ID. Boom. Text available, input and output, and you're done. So pretty cool. Okay, done. So now we want to link this over to here. All right. Okay, so after we created the account, the parent contact, and the student contact, we want to create the actual swimming lesson. So to do that, we actually missed something on the screen here. We forgot to ask a couple of important questions, which is two lookup fields here. First, the lookup field you can get from here, lookup. So you simply drag it to the right, okay, like I did. So it's already there. So now I'm going to explain it to you. On the right side here, the API name, I'm just going to name it input swimming pool. And then after this, it's actually, you have to define the object. So what lookup object? When you create a swimming lesson, where is it from? The opportunity, right? So if I go to my opportunity object here, this is where the swimming lessons are created under the opportunity object. So on here we have both swimming instructor and swimming pool as a lookup, right? Remember that? So swimming instructor is a lookup to contact. The swimming pool is a lookup to account. Okay. So I'm going to go back over to our flow builder here. So this is a swimming pool. So it's picking up from the opportunity, and the name is swimming pool _ C. Where did that came from? This name here, swimming pool _ C, is a lookup, and this is the field name. So if I go back here, we want to look up for a swimming pool. So basically we use the object where the swimming lessons is living. So we use the field name from that lookup, and that's it. So once you did that, you put the record ID onto a new record variable like we did before, right? So if I copy this, so you can add a new resource first, just like before, and then you create variable and then the name, and then the data type is text again, and then basically that's what I did, and I put it there. Okay, so the same thing with the swimming instructor opportunity object. Okay, and the name is swimming pool underscore underscore C. So on the opportunity object, you have swimming instructor underscore underscore C there. Okay, if I go back here, oh, this is actually wrong. This is, oh, good thing we revisit this. We have to change this. Swimming instructor underscore underscore C, not swimming pool, right? Look at that. There, because it's instructor, right? Now if I go back here, this is swimming pool. I was just copying it and I forgot to change that. See, good thing we did this again. So I'm going to hit done and save. And now if we run this warning, you can ignore. If I run this, and I'm going to pop this out so we can see it like this, which is better. Now we have the parent, the student, the home address, the phone, and the swimming pool. Coaldale swimming pool, the instructor, for example, Aaron Davis, right? And you can choose that. So this is how it's going to look like. Pretty nice, right? So next up is we are going to actually create the swimming lesson. Another record to create. Boom. What happened? So yeah, to speed things up, I have created this for you. So let's take a look. It's basically the same thing. I'm going to close this again. It's a create records, right? The same thing as before. So the difference is, it's the same thing. How many record? 1. This is the same thing. Use separate variables. And the object is now opportunity because the swimming lesson lives in the opportunity object, right? And then we simply map all the fields that needs to be mapped. The account ID, where we get from when we create the account from the previous element we did. The close date of the lesson, the opportunity, which is the flow current date. Well, how do we get this? If I take this out here, you choose flow here, and then current date. The lesson end date is mapped from the input from the screen. Lesson end date, same thing with lesson start date. And then this is the name of the opportunity. Swim kits for student first name, student last name. The stage name has to be populated because it is required, and we choose closed one. The student is the student contact ID, which was created from the previous element. The swim kits level is the level that is chosen from the data input. The instructor is the same from the input. The lookup, remember the lookup, swimming instructor account ID, and the swimming pool, the same thing from the lookup as well. Then the created record we store in the opportunity ID if we want to. So let's do that. Let's create a new resource just in case we want to use it for later on. Variable, new opportunity ID. Okay, the data type would be text, and I'm going to allow both input and output, and done. And I'm going to hit done here, and I'm going to save. So this is done. We want to create a test record, shall we? Okay, let's go ahead and do that. To do that, you simply hit the run button here to test it out, or you can also debug. I would like, because this is a screen flow which has a screen, so if you run it, it actually pops up the screen, right? But if it's not a screen flow where it's automatically triggered from a data update, you can't actually just run it like that. You will need to debug it to actually test it. When you debug it, it will ask you to input the record ID and whatever is triggering it. So we can even debug this, but let's just run it. Okay, I'm going to run this, and I'm going to close this baby and run. And let's create, I'm going to pop this up so it looks better, like on the mobile or on the side there. Let's do the parent would be Jack No. The student would be Jane No. The birth date of the student would be, let's say the student Jane is born in 2010, December 15. This is fake street, fake city, Florida. I don't know the postal code there. Fake postal code, United States. And the phone is a fake phone. The lesson will start on the December 16th. Oh, it's almost Christmas, guys. Until December the 20th. The level of the swim kits will be level 5, for example. The swimming pool will be Coaldale Swimming Pool. The instructor will be Andrew Davis, like we did before, Aaron Davis. And I'm going to hit next. Boom. That's it. Now, did it create a record? If I close this and we go back here, what was the name of it again? Jane No, right? So look at that. We have Jane No as a contact, and it's creating an opportunity, which is a lesson for Jane No. Look at that. So this is the swim kits for Jane No. The details, swim kits for Jane No. The account is the parent Jack No. The close date is the close date. And then the lesson start December 16 until December 20th. We haven't figured out the time. That's okay. Swim kits level 5, days to lesson, 4 days to lesson. And the swimming pool, the instructor, and the student. Awesomeness. So that's actually working as expected. Okay. So our flow works as expected. Now we want to activate this. Boom. Without activating it, you can't actually use this. Okay. So remember to always activate the flow. Now, what's next? We want to use this flow, right? So as the guide suggested, we want to distribute the flow. So if we scroll down here, we have discussed a lot about the building flows, the building blocks, although not every single thing, but that is impossible. You have to go through building a lot of flows, then you will know every possible combination of what can be done. Okay, remember that. So you need to know the basics of and look as things are being built, watch, so you will have ideas. Okay, so now if we go down here and we want now to implement that flow, I'm gonna go scroll down and just distribute your flow here. And distribute your flow, we want to put that flow on the home page, just like this. Okay, so from setup, enter builder and then Lightning App Builder. Let's go ahead and do that. We are going to close this flow and set up, and then app manager, right? Let's see. No, Lightning App Builder. Go here. So on here, we want to make a new home page. So I'm going to hit new here. A new home page for us. Awesomeness. Next. Label. Swim Kits Receptionist home page. Okay. Next. So we want standard home page is fine like that. And finish. So there we have it. We can add stuff here, right? But we want to add our flow. What is the flow here? We want to drag this flow on the right side there. So what What flow? Which flow? The flow we just built. So new swim kids lesson flow. Oh, it knows. Look at that. Optionally enter values for these flow variables. Only variables that allow input access are supported. We are not going to input anything, so we are going to save this. Okay. Now, activation. Boom. We are going to assign this as the org default. Boom. And then we are going to assign it also as the app default, assign to apps. Let's assign this, I don't know, suggestion box. Boom. And save. And then one more, I'm going to also app and profiles. Assign to app and profiles. I want to go to suggestion box as well. And sysadmin profile. Okay, and swimming instructor, well, not really, sysadmin for now. Okay, I'm gonna apply this. Now if we save and we go back, did we save it? Yep, let's go back. If I hit home, not there. If I hit home over here, to go back to the home page. Oop. Okay, so we figured it out. So this basically means we've made a mistake on the flow. If I go back to the flow here, so each of this variable, it was set available for input, remember? So this was available for input. So actually this is availability outside the flow. So if you want to pass parameter into the flow, you have to check this box, right? So because the majority of my flows are actually auto trigger flows, so I automatically by default always make it available for input because I always use that. But this is a screen flow which I rarely build. I usually build Visualforce pages and Apex code. So you don't have to, you can't have this available for input if you want to put that on the home page or on a page there. So remember, this is availability outside the flow, okay? Outside the flow. Availability outside the flow. So what I did is I unchecked all of that. So all of these variables here, I uncheck all of it. So it's not available for input anymore, all right? So I haven't saved it. So I'm going to save this, a new version. So it's going to override the current version we have. And I'm going to activate that again. Now if I go back to my home page and I have to re-add them on my app builder here, I'm going to delete this guy and re-add the flow. See? Now, oh, we missed one, parent contact ID. So I'm going to delete this. We can't have anything on there. So parent contact ID here, I missed one. Not available for input. Okay, done. So I'm going to save this guy again and save. And again, we are going to activate. Now go back again to the app builder and re-add the flow. So as this is a screen flow, you don't want that optional value to be displayed here. That will make your page error out. Okay. So I'm going to save this guy again, changes save. And if I go back here and refresh this home page, okay, still something is wrong. Our parent contact ID, which we did actually save the dude. Did we? I'm going to go back and check our page again. Parent contact ID. Yeah. It's done. Maybe I re-add that again. Maybe it didn't pick up before. I'm going to delete that again. One more time. Back here. So there is no parent contact ID, right? So that looks good. I'm going to activate it again probably. And looks good. It still is that and that. I'm going to close. I'm going to go back here. Maybe go back to another app, for example. Let's go to the sales app. There, boom. Awesomeness. So let's go check. If we refresh the suggestion box app, it should be the same. No, and we go to home. We don't even have a home page here. Let's go home. Boom. So same thing here. We can create new record, new swimming lesson, new swim kids lesson flow. You can actually relabel this. So let's do, who are we going to name? Nick Wright. Student Nancy Wright. Student birth date is 2003. Well, it's too old. Is it too old? Wait, what was it? 2012 December. Street. I don't know. Let's just pick one fake street here. Right. Okay. Heaven, New Jerusalem. Awesomeness. Well, it's supposed to be United States. Okay. 555. Wow. Like that. Start date December 23 through Christmas. Look at that. Swim kids level 7. Whoa, it's all the 7 here. It's all the 7 heaven. And then let's name it Davis again. Aaron Davis. Let's go, baby. Let's go swimming. So Nick Wright and Nancy Wright. Boom. Next, another phone call. You ready to go? See, it's a time saver. So Nick who? Nick Wright. Nick Wright there, right? Nick Wright. So if I go to Nick Wright, oh no, the student is Nancy Wright. Nancy is having the swimming lesson there. Nancy Wright now have a swimming lesson booked. And look at all that is created. So that is how we create a flow. It's pretty long, right? The video is getting long. So I'm going to end this video and we'll do the challenge together. The challenge on the next video. Alright? So good job, guys. And I'll see you on the next video where we do the challenge together. Bada bing, bada boom. Hit that subscribe button and explore new Trailhead grounds and learn to implement the most useful and popular apps on the Salesforce App Exchange. And do yourself a favor, like this video and you'll be surprised on how much more you understand when watching this same video after liking it. Don't take my word. Watch this one more time after you like the video and see it for yourself. Bada bing, bada boom.